Hey everybody, happy Super Bowl Sunday. If you're watching us on our release day here, we are getting ready to watch the Super Bowl. But as we do every Sunday, we wanted to take some time today to go through our weekly sales. In this video, we're going to talk about our basketball sales for the week. One of the big four, sizable chunk of sales from our overall today in basketball. Basketball is not always our biggest sellers, despite really a lot of material out there. I was going through some of my unlisted inventory yesterday, actually, and found that I sat there saying to myself, holy cow, there's a lot of different basketball options out there. So we are still growing our basketball listings out there. But every week we do make a noticeable chunk of sales in our basketball category. We are still a small business here. We are in a growing phase here as an eBay seller. Stuart and I just want to share with us some of the information we have every week. You may have already watched our overall sales video for the week where we kind of go through all sales, what categories they're coming from, some of the trends and things that we're seeing. But then we also break things down one by one into each category of sales. Football, basketball, baseball, auto racing, and everything else that goes along with it, non-sports. Try to give you some quick hitters if you don't want to sit down and watch an hour and a half of sales reviews straight through. You've got some quick hitters you can bounce between whenever it works for you. So Stu and I, let's see, where's Stu? He's right up there. Stu and I want to thank you for joining us today and checking out our basketball sales for the week. We're going to share with you how much those sales were for, how we listed them, and show you the images of those cards that are going out the door here in our sales at JC3 Cards and Collectibles. So with that, we will go ahead and start sharing what those look like this week. Right, Stu? All right, here we are with a breakdown of our sports trading card sales for this week. You will see basketball was about 14% of our sales for the week, trailing football, baseball, and auto racing, which is interesting. I typically would think basketball would be a little stronger seller. I grew up thinking of the big four: football, baseball, basketball, and hockey. But in our store, we don't necessarily see the same breakdown. So interesting. Auto racing is starting to kind of take over for it. Now, auto racing is hot right now, too, because we've got the F1 and the NASCAR seasons kicking off. Basketball's been going for a while now. It might be a little bit of a lull in the season. I would anticipate as we get close to the playoffs, that's going to jump back up again, right? So you can see 14% of our sports sales this week. If I look at our overall sales for the week, it's actually about 10% of all items we sold this week in the store. So definitely a good chunk of opportunity there. I would encourage you to diversify your stores and try and hit all of these categories and maybe even a few more if they're relevant to you and who you want to sell cards to. But basketball, I think, is always going to be a staple for us. So with that, let's jump into some of the details of the cards we sold this week. Here we go. Not a big list this week, as I said. Little bit of a depressed market at our store for basketball this week, but we do have 4 good sales here. I want to call out a few things on these cards. So let's look at the first one on the list. 2021 Panini WNBA Prism. Sue Bird with the Seattle Storm right here in the bottom right. We should refer to that as. Got to help you with our directions here. But what I want to call out on this one is I think WNBA cards are a budding opportunity. I think historically it hasn't been a huge market. I think Panini's done a good job of getting some offerings out there. And I'm starting to see some sporadic sales of WNBA players out there. I think it's an untapped market. I think it's one I'm going to expand in a little bit more when I'm out there searching for inventory for JC3 cards and collectibles. It's a market that I think has room for a lot of people to jump into. Caitlin, what's her name? Caitlin, I can't think of her name right now, but she is super hot. She's like Caitlin Clark. There we go. She's like supernova right now. If you see any of that, I would for sure be picking it up. But some of these legendary names that are now either retired or thinking about retiring, reaching the end of their careers, like Sue Bird, these are solid sellers too. A lot of opportunity on these. I think the same rules apply to WNBA players that they do in every other market. You want to get those Hall of Famers. You want to get those accolades collectors, the MVPs, all of those things, and the championship winners. And Sue Bird checks the boxes on a lot of those. So I think that was a nice sale. I was able to sell that card for $3 this week as a base Prism. Really happy with that sale. Up next, we have 2017-2018 Panini Player of the Day memorabilia for Devin Booker of the Phoenix Suns. You can see this in the top left here. Memorabilia cards are a little tougher to ship. You got to really watch the thickness. If they're the thinner ones, you can still get away with shipping them in a eBay standard envelope. But you might want to take additional care, maybe put them in a card saver versus a top loader, put them in a number 10 envelope versus a number 6. Really give a little more room for those mail sorters to process that, because these can a lot of times be a little stiffer. If you take some of those extra steps, you still allow room for those cards to pretty much bend in half as they're going through the roller system. Not so much the card, but the envelope itself, and then it'll straighten out as it pulls through. If they're those thicker memorabilia cards, like sometimes they're like half an inch to 3/4 of an inch thick, then you're definitely going to have to go ground advantage. This one I was able to send out with eBay standard envelope, and that was an $8 sale. That was a nice sale for a player like Devin Booker. Nice little jersey swatch on there, so pleased with that sale this week. Up next is the 2019-2020 Panini Player of the Day, Kobe Bryant of the Lakers. That sale went for $4.99. This is a basic common card base set here for the Panini Player of the Day. A lot of these were made. Kobe's he continues to be a relevant name in the hobby, though. Anytime I see those in those value boxes, I grab them. Don't really have much of a problem turning those cards and making a little bit of a profit on them. And of course, when we make profit on a card, part of that is just we're doing the legwork to get a card to a home that appreciates it. We're saving you or others the time it takes to go out and find these cards. We spend a lot of time standing over boxes at card shows and do some of that legwork for you. You can just browse, click, and unwrap when it comes to the door, right? So $4.99 on that Kobe card, I think, is a good sale for a base set. And then finally, we've got a 2022-2023 Panini Chronicles Purple Parallel, serial numbered out of 49, Luka Doncic of the Dallas Mavericks. This was a dollar box find. I was shocked to find this. And sometimes I think this was the case in this. I don't really notice that it is that parallel or that serial number until I get home with them. Luka's a name that is very relevant in the hobby yet. He's still having a fantastic career. I just buy Luka if I see him, and then I get home and I say, "Holy cow! This is a kind of a rare parallel, serial numbered out of 49." So I made this sale for $20.69. Those are those exciting moments in this business. If you decide to sell low-end cards and you're combing through those dollar boxes, part of the excitement is you're a little bit of a treasure hunter, right? And that was the case here. That was a hit for me. That's like buying a hobby box and getting a case hit, right? For me, I'm in a dollar box, sometimes a dime box, sometimes a quarter box, sometimes a 50-cent box. And occasionally you'll find some of these cards. Some dealers like to seed those boxes with a few good cards to just keep interest. Sometimes these cards are hard to notice. I have some in my own collection that I've missed and didn't realize they were serial numbered, because on certain cards the serial number goes in an odd place and it's easy to miss. This particular one, serial numbered out of 50. Really nice to see that sale this week, $20.69. I negotiated down with that buyer a little bit, but we both left happy on that one. Really cool card. Got the purple parallel. I'm still all in on Luka, and I will continue to buy all I can with that name. So those were our basketball sales for this week. Again, not super strong, but a decent group of cards. Definitely some nice sales that we were able to turn in that basketball category. We'll continue to try and grow our basketball listings in the store this week and beyond. I think basketball will always be a staple in the sporting world. So up next, we're going to be sharing some of our miscellaneous sports. So everything not covered in some of those big categories. Up next, we're going to talk about some soccer. We're going to talk about any hockey. We've got some hockey sales this week. We're going to talk about those next, and those will be available, I believe, right up here if you want to click on it and jump to that one next. So hope you enjoyed seeing our basketball sales for the week. For now, this is me and Stu saying